Hello, hello. Today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. This is SIG Node CI meeting. Welcome, everybody. We have an empty agenda, so likely we'll just go through triage. As usual, we'll start with tests and then we'll go to bugs. We try to keep it 50-50 for the meeting, but let's see how it goes. I see a lot of issues today on CI board to triage. Many of them are unrelated, so it may go really fast. Let's see. Should be able to see my screen now. Yeah, as usual, we'll start with triage items like 20, but like I feel like most of them are not related to this group. It may go very fast. It's really tricky to do without mouse, but I'm doing my best. Yeah, let's start with this and open more. Okay. So this seems to be across multiple SIGs, some code organization thing. I don't think it's related to this group. Yeah, so it's a code organization for test framework. I will go ahead and remove it from this board. Mockery, same thing here. It seems like it's also across multiple projects. Yeah, I just updated some coding. Okay, improve resource slice publishing. Okay, so this may be a code change. Let's see how many tests is there. If it's heavy on tests, we can keep it. No, it's just a few tests modified. Yeah. Again, I will triage it out of this board, but we will have it tracked by other board for all the PRs. Randomize cluster role name into your tests. Okay, so this seems to be relevant to this group. Then we create cluster role resource without again cluster. Okay. So Kevin already took a look. Seems easy enough. Any takers?
Yeah, I can take a look.
Okay. Okay, move pod resize E2 utilities out of E2 framework. Okay, so it seems a code application for E2E. I think I saw Tim on the call. Tim?
Yeah, this is just refactoring. We're just waiting for code thaw and test framework approval. It is worth noting, I reached out to Patrick Oley about giving SIG Node approvers approval power in the pod and node framework directories. Because we were kind of running into needing test framework approval for a lot of these pod resize tests. And the answer I got was basically no. But his suggestion was to basically create a separate utility package for utilities that are only used by SIG Node tests. So this is creating a new directory in I think it's test ETE common node framework. So I'm creating a pod resize subdirectory there. So this is just a place for us to store utilities that are just for SIG node tests that we have ownership of.
Okay. And you're moving it out of here, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Once this merges, we'll probably, I know there's another one that's touching C groups that will probably try and move a lot of the C groups utilities out of there as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've been discussing test framework, and I think SIG testing is quite active, and we never had problems getting attention. It just bugging people for something that barely related to test framework is not ideal. So yeah, I welcome this change. Don't pre-pull images for eviction tests to address GC race conditions. Okay, Ajay did some optimization here.
I can update here.
Mm-hmm.
So I fixed the original race condition that was failing this bug, but my fix was to not pre-pull images for eviction test. The reason being the earlier eviction test that run that will fill up the disk and free up, it would trigger image garbage collection, and the underlying pre-pulled images are cleaned up. I addressed this by not pre-pulling images for eviction test. But what happened was that there is one specific test that requires like this pre-pulling behavior, like the inodes, number of inodes to clean up. It's relying on this pre-pull mechanism. So that specific test is failing. I need to handle that explicitly by only pre-pulling for that test. We didn't have time to look into it.
Okay, so
I can follow up on this.
okay, is it still waiting on author then? Waiting on you, or it's
It's
okay?
waiting on me. Yeah,
Okay.
I can take a look at this week.
Okay. Unify the pattern of string concatenations, finding the line breaks. Okay, it's a code organization thing. I think we need to go and archive it out of here. Event the desired state of world populator. It's a feature in Kubernetes. It seems like, wow, okay. I'll triage it out of here. It's not test related. Okay, another feature, it seems like. And another one. And another one. Oh, no, this is test, right?
This is for, there's some test flakes, but we weren't surfacing enough details in the error message to actually debug them. So this is a prerequisite for fixing the flakes.
Okay, can you review?
I think I already did. It's just waiting for code thaw.
Okay.
It's already approved and LGTM ready to go.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait for resource quota status to be populated. Same story. I see LGTM here.
Yeah, I looked at this. It's just fixing a flake, except the flake doesn't seem to appear in the test grid. It just appears for whatever they're doing. But it looked good to me, so I assigned it to Tim for actually looking at it.
I'll take a look. Looks like code thaw is scheduled for today, by the way, assuming the release goes out.
I hope so. Working granular checks. Services should update endpoints. Some networking tests seems like. Some flakes. Yeah, I'll remove signal from here. Static pod status is always init 0, 1 if unable to get in container status. What does it? Is it a product change? Yeah, it's a product change with a small, relatively small test. Yeah, if anybody wants to sign up on this here, please speak up.
Yeah, I could look at it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this PR is mostly test, so I really want test to be like reviewed. So I will keep this in this dashboard. If you feel it's like getting more of a feature, we can always remove it. Okay, we have a few more left. Okay, this one needs to be removed. Project. Okay, adding context to pod admission.
It's a lot of context plumbing, and I believe it's code change. It has some implications on test, but I would archive it from the test board.
Yeah, that seems to be heavily backward incompatible. Okay, code lifecycle, propagate context to image pooler. Great. Yeah, it will help with logging as well. Anybody? I think it's a product change as well. Archive it from here. Enable ordered namespace, delete test by default. It's a work in progress. I cannot parse the header very well, so but I still think it's doesn't belong here. Post pod eviction during full zonal disruption. Yeah, that's what we discussed yesterday on a SIG Node meeting. This is a product change. I'll archive it from here. Just to double check, it's not like heavy on test. I don't think so. No, just a couple. Okay, my kubelet LZ test optionally ignores start timeout. Is it failing test of Flake? Yeah, failing test. Okay. I think Vinay is a great person to look at it. Yeah, it's already assigned to Vinay. All right. Okay, let's wait.
You
Vinay.
assign me as well.
Oh, okay, sure. Flaky unit test. Recently. Flaky again. Okay, it was reported March 24th. But it's already marked as stale. Oh, it was already marked as stale because it was originally reported in 2004. Let's take a look at test. So yeah, it says how to run stress, how to make sure it fails. Yeah, I am going to mark this help, because it has all the details. Okay, if anybody wants to take it, please do. But typically, when you mark it as help, there are many people who want to start contributing. And we're done. Okay, let's take it test grid. Mm. Mm. Yeah, release blocking is a little flaky. It's the same flake. No, this is sidecars, and this is also sidecars. I wonder if we have an issue for this flake already. No. Yeah, I'd wait for it to flake a couple more times. Oh, it actually does flake multiple times. Just one. Okay. Go ahead and create a flake bug. Okay. Kubelet. Okay. This is tracked already. I'm pretty sure we discussed it last time, but I don't remember if anybody working on that.
I can take a look at this. I remember last time when we discussed the swap failures, it was mentioned that some other related cryo failures could be impacting this one. So I think we kind of skipped over this. I can take a look at this.
Yeah, but I think this one is new. Wait. Yeah. So what you reminded me that I think cryo was failing for some other reasons, and then
Yeah.
I think that there's maybe it was hidden before from that. Okay, thank you, Ajay. I will mark. Yeah, this one truly flake. Okay, container D. Again, many flakes. That's canary. Oh, okay. EKS keeps failing. Yeah, I wonder if we want to do something with those EKS tests. They all always failing. Okay, I will put some. Okay. Again, EC2 tests. Yeah, I need to take a look. Ubuntu. Yeah, this is I think that we saw during triage. This looks like that. Endpoint internet. Oh, I removed it from board. Sorry. Yes, there is a bug for this already. Okay. This is correct. And let's look at cryo. Lakey are not Lakeys are failing. No. Wait, am I here? Yeah, that's probably what we discussed last time. Peter, do you know if anybody looked at cryo?
I thought there might have been someone who was looking at it. I need to double check on that though. But we have been hitting this also in upstream cryo.
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice to check before. Well, I mean, we're already late for once it's released, but maybe something can be improved. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done with the test grid, everything tracked. I have a couple more minutes for test portion of this meeting. I want to just quickly review what we have in progress. Like we have, yeah, typically I will assign it, like everything that has assignee, I will move to in progress. And then quickly review what we have there. Yeah, if you want to take an action item from a board, issues to do is always a good place to fish for something interesting. It's not assigned to anybody, so you can feel free to assign it to yourself. From issues to do, who is this? Just quickly review what's happening. Yeah, one of them is approved already. Approved but not assigned to anybody. I wonder what's happened. Oh, Francesca, it's done by Francesca, that's why it's approved. And it's PR, so you're clearly not in the right place. It's reviewer. Is Francesca here today?
No, he's out. I plan to take a look at this anyway.
Okay, let me assign it to you.
Yep.
There is.
SW, I think if you type, it should come up. Yeah, the second one.
Yes. Okay. Good. And yeah, everything else has some owner. Okay. I think with that we can finish that part of the meeting and switch to the bugs. Peter, do you want to take over?
Yep. All right, share the screen. Okay. Okay, so starting off with bugs, we have a good number of them. So
Yeah, it's because we moved all the
untriaged.
bugs that this board that will untriage bugs after a certain period of time. So last time we moved all of them to this column in the hope that we can slowly progress of retriaging them. So it's expected that some of them may already be gone, or like we can close them as non-relevant any longer. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Need to remove huge page resource from allocatable memory. Harshal, did you ever look at this?
Do you see any update from me at the bottom somewhere?
No, I don't think so. Not since you were assigned.
Oh. Okay, then let me take a look at this. Sorry. For some
That's
reason,
okay.
I thought I had.
Nothing to be sorry about.
Retag it.
It's so old that nobody tracked them. And
Yeah.
thanks to the bot, it was untriaged, so we can review again.
Okay. Kubelet causes pod unready when stop kubelet sleep 40 seconds start. Okay. Potentially expected. I don't know.
What does it say, Peter? Sorry. Oh, if you scroll up.
Yeah, so it's just saying, yeah, when I guess a restart of the kubelet with a little sleep in the middle, like a pod sort of goes unready and then comes back as ready. I also suspect, I wonder if this is still an issue. That person, is that the author? Yeah. Okay. Interesting. HTTP probes that do return 200 but hang afterwards do not fail if their size is above 10 kilobytes.
We truncate after 10 kilobytes. So kubelet will read first 10 kilobytes and will not read any more. And if server will just hang, we will never know about it.
Yeah, and this is implying that the probe should fail if the size is above 10 kilobytes, but you're saying that the kubelet just drops that output.
I mean, it never done anything with this 10 kilobyte output. It just we just read 10 first kilobytes, and then like we think it's too much already. Like let's forget about it. It's already 200.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any decision in this bug? Did we decide to change something or?
No, we just kind of put it in the backlog. And there was a PR that reports fix it. That's closed, or weak, rotten. A little bit of conversation here. Nothing. Just like Antonio sort of acted.
I think it's still a problem.
Yeah.
Just don't know how much of it is like bug and how much of it is a feature request at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think this just grew stale. Like, I don't necessarily think that I don't even know if anyone from Node itself ever looked. Oh, I guess Ed looked at it. But yeah, I think that that's a good point. Like, hard to tell if this is actually just expected because this amount of output from a probe is just not great to have.
Yeah, and we will need to decide how to, like, even if we'll do timeout on this.
Antonio in that PR said he's gonna review it, and maybe we can tag him here or there, saying if we still think this should be fixed. Yeah, there is a comment by him says he's gonna review it.
Yeah, it may be documentation issue. We just document the behavior and say like it's expected. If you want to change it, like it's a feature.
Yeah, I don't think we can change this behavior in a non-breaking way.
I wouldn't imagine customers who actually have this kind of probes, but we will break those for sure. Yeah.
And I can imagine a world where we just decide this is something you shouldn't do. And if yeah, I agree that probably at most it's a documentation change for now, unless we find a case where it is more problematic.
I could imagine something that's serving a web document that's more than 10 KB, and they set up a prober to just fetch that to make sure that the serving is up and happening.
Yeah, but the only thing they can hope for is timeout, right? So they shouldn't be relying on any. I mean, you cannot change the status code any longer. It's already 200. You're already reading parsing body.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was giving an example of a case where, like, not breaking when the size is above 10 KB is desired.
Right. So we do want to just silently drop it in your case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's be very explicit, like remove a kind bug and just to remove kind bug. Yeah.
Do we accept it as a documentation update?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. This is currently a containerd thing. I don't know if that changed ever with containerd 2 release. But I think that this is more of a feature to close up these gaps.
I think this is a duplicate of the one mentioned at the very end.
Or almost maybe vice versa.
Yeah.
Folder. I think Ben already mentioned this. Yeah, I mean, this seems like something that we would need a larger KEP for. So this seems like a feature, like increasing the allowable set of values. Seems that we'd have to have a feature for that.
Yeah, we're gonna remove kind bugs then.
Wait, I think this is a bug. Because this is, there's validation in there that's checking for cap sysadmin, but that's not the way that cap capabilities are specified. So that basically the cap shouldn't be there.
With like case with prefix and no prefix thing.
Yeah, so the validation, I guess maybe that's the runtime dependent thing is.
Yeah, I think that's the question is
Cryo
if we expect
accepts
that
both.
Right, like is that a container? Because I think Cryo got that behavior from Docker, so we just but I think containerd is the one that might not be conformant here. But we probably don't declare it in the CRI. So I mean, it feels to me like either this is a bug in containerd or this is like a feature that we should sort of go through of reducing the set of allowable fields in the validation.
So one runtime allows with cap, another one doesn't. Did I get that correctly? So can we just adjust in kubelet or where we just add cap if it's not there?
Yeah, so I think there's, whether or not there's a, resolving the containerd and cryo behavior is kind of a separate question. But in kubelet validation, either it should be restricting both values or neither values. In my opinion, it should be neither.
Right.
That's the whole discussion and why this issue has lingered open for so long. But I think there's definitely a bug in the kubelet validation because it's using the less common restriction here.
I think I will take a look at this and see if like how straightforward it is to update the validation to validate in both cases, or when we're passing it down to containerd or cryo at the cap aspect of it. But yeah, in the validation, making sure that we check in both cases.
I was advocating instead of handling it in validation, when we set this value, we just add cap if it's not there and then validate only on the. So in my opinion, instead of fixing validation to accept both conditions, we just.
It's actually a case of denying. Like what the validation here is trying to do is deny this permission.
Yeah, so I think they're able to slip through. So actually, this is almost, you could even consider it to be a bug in, well, yeah, so if the validation doesn't check, like doesn't deny this pod, then that's almost like a way to slip through the capability.
Yeah.
In cryo and not in containerd. Like containerd being more strict is covering up the hole in validation here, basically. Right. But yeah, I'll take a look at this and see how invasive it is, and if it seems relatively straightforward, maybe we can slip it in without a cap.
If you're changing the validation, you need a handle version skew.
Never mind, we'll need a cap.
Tightening or relaxing validation.
Okay.
FYI.
Cool. I'll take a look at that.
Just from pragmatical perspective, it's always easier to relax something than enforce something new.
I think that's actually not true in the case of API validation, because if you're tightening validation, you can do it across one release by handling old values. But if you're relaxing validation, it has to be spread over 2 releases because you have to have the new code in that accepts both over one release, and then in the a release after that, you handle relaxing. But we can talk about that offline if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you. And I'll accept this.
Is priority set on this? Oh, thank you.
Good question.
Long term? I mean, it was
Yeah.
hanging around for long enough that we cannot say that next release is must have.
Yeah, it is clearly on the longer term. Cool. Yep, this seems probably still the case. I'm gonna guess that this.
Why do we log the environment variables?
We do it on accident by serializing the pod, I think.
So this is saying if there's sensitive information in the pod spec, then we log it.
Yeah, in the environment variable or something.
Yeah, but that seems like a non-issue. Like, if you want to set secret information in environment variables, use a secret.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can set environment variables from, say, a config map, and in that case, even or a secret itself, and in that case, this will end up printing that information from that. Sorry, information from that secret into that log.
Does
If
a secret sneak into this?
If we're logging secret values, that sounds like a bug. If we're logging serialized pod, that seems like it's working as intended.
So the environment values can come from secret or a config map, right? During runtime. So
yeah, but then if we're logging the pod spec, we're just logging the reference to that secret. We're not logging the value.
So this might be actually a CRI, because we're talking at this point, we're in sync pod and we're saying we're going to be creating this container. So it's possible like this is a CRI.
No, I don't
field,
think
which
we
would have the
resolve it
environment
until we
variable.
pass it through to the CRI. We can check, but
yeah, I think that this could use a little bit of investigation.
you can assign this to me. Let me follow up.
Can we mark it as need information then?
Yeah.
I remember working on some other project where we were loading not sensitive, but some information from config map into environment variable. And if I have a feeling that if you print it, it will print a value of that environment variable which came from that config map, not the config map name. But I need to verify that. I think the user has the same concern.
Cool. Okay. Ten more minutes. The advisor manager update machine info periodically, but huge age info and no status is updated when. Yeah, this I would say does kind of fall. I mean, I don't know if we make any guarantees about the majority of resources if they're updated on the node. Like, I think it's just a side effect of history that the advisor happens to update these things. But I think something like the dynamic node resize PEP would be, like, we would want to commit to that if we were saying we would do it frequently.
Yeah, let's comment like that and close the bug.
Pod inform update with pod UID can lead to attached detached controller.
It's between us and SIG storage. Maybe
Yeah,
put comments and see if it was handled by SIG storage.
I don't think it was. Hard to tell if it was okay. We added SIG storage, but I don't think anyone's ever looked at it.
Yes, I moved it in backlog, so somebody looked at it.
Yeah. The other thing that I'm thinking about in this moment, like, did Clayton's refactoring that happened around this time where we just totally changed the source of information of like what the state of a pod is. So it's possible actually that this has just been fixed in all of that churn. We
Have they given any
did the pod
reproduce yet?
electrical refactor. Yeah, I think we should check that this. Well, okay, but then now something. Oh, I see. Yeah, so I think okay.
I wonder if we just need to proactively remove SIG node and wait if it will come back to us.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay. Okay, this is in a weird sort of state, I think. Hard to say that this is in our, I don't think that this is.
There's 118. It's very old.
Yeah, very, very old. Yeah, this hasn't been, the last comment here was a year or 6 months after the last, and was just saying like maybe this is a bug with some random kernel. So I think we can close this and it can be reopened if it's still an issue.
That's a good idea.
All right, maybe time for one more.
You guys need close.
We'll see. Arshil. Time gone by.
Partial circle
Uh,
2021.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty old.
exactly. Very old. Harshal, can you confirm this issue still exists? I think this probably issue may not exist.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're not thinking about it.
I gave some reproducer, but I don't know whether this still exists or not.
I think this was
Also,
this looks like a static pod race condition, which I think was recently fixed, maybe in 132.
cool.
I do not disagree.
Great. If you did, you would reopen it. All right. I think we can call it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
See you next week.